Multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
No, that's the beautiful thing about being the kind of honest I am. Because what I'm saying is true, because what I'm saying is backed up on honest to God, complete integrity, I can say something like that, let everybody be mad about it, and step the fuck away.
Never one to stay quiet, Jaguar Wright went all out, calling out the women she claimed were involved in Diddy's infamous parties and, according to her, may have been left at risk. She accused Sean Diddy Combs of being an undetected carrier who, behind closed doors, allegedly puts numerous women in danger, dropping one shocking claim after another.
That head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable, G?
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and wouldn't nobody be able to sue me.
She continued after that. Wright burned half the industry, claiming that other people weren't only spectators and should be prosecuted alongside Diddy. Suddenly, Aden's whispers about leaked legal documents stopped feeling like gossip. It was intensifying by the second and felt like a scandal on steroids.
So what are your thoughts on all the his celebrity friends that denounced those allegations and were like, this is false, and they were saying, yeah, should they speak up now? Should they speak up now?
I think it's getting a little too late for those who are complicit.
Wright was aware that the backlash was inevitable. It always does. She was criticized for being too unrefined, too careless, and too willing to label people without hesitation. However, Jaguar never pursued her with polish. The only money she had left was the stories. And when weighed against the already soiled record of the industry, each one, no matter how ridiculous it sounded, had a sting of truth.
The first time you heard me say that Sean Combs was a sex trafficker, and you said I was a liar because I was jealous, because I wasn't his girlfriend, because I wasn't successful in the music industry, because I didn't have a hit record, because I didn't live in a mansion, because I didn't have diamonds. You said all of these things about me.
The start of this saga.
This story did not begin as whispered rumors. The nuke was verbal. Jaguar turned the script on its head in one chilly interview. She began by complimenting Magic Johnson for being candid about having HIV in a kind, even polite manner. He wasn't completely freaked out, and she referred to him as a real black billionaire, a man who confronted it directly and established his kingdom in the open. Then there was the silence, the type of silence that makes your stomach turn. She then unleashed her fury.
Shout out to Magic Johnson, a real black billionaire who wasn't all freaked off, who actually made business, bank exchange, created dollars in real black neighborhoods, so real black families.
It was obvious who the aim was. Diddy was the direct target of Jaguar's finger, suggesting that he wasn't merely concealing a diagnosis. He was exposing ladies by dragging them into those notorious freak-offs. It wasn't packaged like gossip by her, as if it were an indictment. She dropped it. The sort of charge that not only causes a gasp, but also silences the entire room before anyone has the audacity to touch rewind. She continued with Diddy after that. Widening the blast zone, Jaguar attracted a supposedly secretive elite who, she said, were hoarding treatments, protected by their wealth, influence, and quiet, while everyone else was left to suffer. She told the distinction between Diddy and Johnson in a dark, secretive manner that left the audience feeling as though she wasn't even making up a theory, but rather pulling back a curtain that no one was allowed to touch.
Could have that opportunity just like everybody else.
I mean, he actually caught HIV, like having a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
The glamorous A-list after-parties that fans may imagine were not these so-called freak-offs. They were presented as something much more sinister, supported by others who said they knew. Jaguar Wright portrayed them as planned horror shows in which individuals were being set up, compromised and infected rather than merely having a good time. Velvet ropes and champagne flutes are obsolete. Imagine a place filled with narcotics, cameras recording everything, and power games that make you feel horrible. According to Whisper, there was little chance of catching anything. People were passed about like props, and they weren't treated like guests. It was almost written into the screenplay. Furthermore, the Whisper sounded subdued because of the so-called receipts. When Diddy was hit with the federal indictment, the documents read like a nightmare catalog, complete with baby oil, new linens, and 3 AR-15 guns hidden within his homes. They also talked about money laundering and dubious accounts. The federal government was no longer depicting a mogul. They were drawing a purported ringleader of a fully functional criminal organization. Court documents explained it. Employees allegedly gave orders to reserve whole hotels, fill them to overflowing with clean sheets, lubricant, and drugs, and then keep the free coughs going for days at a time. It became so severe, people required 4 drips put together, according to Whispers. The drawing depicted a nightmare. All of a sudden, Jaguar's tirades about infection didn't seem so absurd. With a weird sort of logic, they landed. The sad logic of a world where illness, power, and secrecy all fueled one another. Yes, Jaguar didn't require a lawyer in a power suit or folders of court documents. The weapon was her mouth. Ignore hush money, NDAs, and the glitzy public relations apparatus of the industry. She went raw, cutting right through it. She didn't tiptoe either. Like grenades, she threw names.
Let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a bean. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
Her jabs at Mary J. Blige, however, were the most devastating. Wright blatantly asserted that there was a sex film of Mary having sex with a 16-year-old girl. When others believed she had overreached herself, the internet began to investigate. An old Danny Boy tape about a startlingly identical scene appeared. Wright's alleged outbursts didn't seem insane all of a sudden. They had the feel of breadcrumbs leading to a real place.
It ain't my fault I be ahead of the curve. It really ain't my fault. I'm just operating in my principle.
It hurt considerably more because of the timing. Wright wasn't holding out for judges or attorneys, even as Diddy's trial loomed. She was attempting to outsmart them. Pulling these skeletons out into the open was not gossip to her. The strike was preemptive. Before the courtroom could sterilize it or push it back underground, she wanted the entire world to gaze at the rot. The rumor mill wasn't idle. When the situation became personal, it blew up. According to reports, JT, who was formerly Young Miami's right hand in the City Girls' hustle through the first explosives. Rumor has it that she began muttering that Miami was spreading a virus that she contracted from Diddy. It wasn't shade. It was sabotage. A betrayal of the empire they had co-founded. Once screaming period at every move. Fans now clutch pearls and choke at the idea of one half of the pair publicly nooking the other. The floor then started to give way. The person everyone had long suspected was more than Diddy's cook. Chef D threw his own grenade. He didn't tiptoe. He didn't hedge. He outright asserted that over their whole relationship. Diddy had been concealing a diagnosis. Boom. The scandal suddenly veered away from crass party. Rumors and trivial betrayals and into something more menacing, weighty, and dark. This is no longer about crazy parties, if Chef D's assertion is even somewhat accurate. Lives are being used as props in someone's perverse game. Suddenly, what had seemed like hot gossip began to read like a horror movie plot. Betrayal on top of betrayal, with survival, trust, and health at stake. That like a match to gasoline, a single line ignited the internet. Suddenly, the scandal was no longer solely about Jaguar's shock value tirades or Diddy's free coughs. No one was prepared for the rabbit hole that blasted open. The decay didn't end at one mogul's estate, if there was any truth to what she said. Diddy started to appear less like the monster and more like the tip of a much larger iceberg once it revealed an entire shadow network of abuse, complicity, and quiet. The rumors initially seemed like absolute craziness. However, it abruptly stops reading like whispers when you stack it next to the official receipts. It begins to resemble a pattern. Diddy was portraying Cassie's complaint as a man of unbridled rage and a predator who reportedly beat her so severely that she had to visit the hospital multiple times. The worst of all is her allegation that he coerced her into having sex with male escorts while he was filming. There was no rumor that was filed in court, inked in black and white. Then April Lampro filed a lawsuit, adding fuel to a fire that was already burning, as Diddy sat back like some deranged spectator chilling. She accused him of forcing her and Kim Porter into acts after forcing them into ecstasy. In addition to Cassie's assertions, it presented a more negative depiction of an entire system of exploitation, coercion, and control rather than just the aggression of one individual. Therefore, it no longer seemed like crazy paranoia when Jaguar and others began to rave about illnesses, free coughs, and concealed diagnoses. The wickedness was already evident in the receipts. Like the missing parts of a crazy puzzle, everything else simply fell into place. Stamped court docs were not necessary for the general public to make the connection. The writing on the wall was visible to them. It wasn't just carelessness when people were allegedly passed about like props, had no protection, had narcotics on tap, and went on days-long binges. A ticking time bomb was present. The fact that the rumors so closely reflected reality only made things worse. People cited actual instances in which individuals purposefully disseminated lethal pathogens. Evidence that this wasn't a script for a scary movie. It occurs. In light of this, the rumors of infection ceased to sound irrational, like a warning flare. They struck. Grim, ugly, and incredibly realistic. One thing stood out more loudly than any press release amid the flurry of allegations and rumors. Quiet hers, not Jaguar's, shook like thunder. Yet the individuals she identified remained silent. Silence is also a form of receipt in the realm of chaotic gossip. The same scathing reasoning was used by fans to overwhelm the comments section. If Jaguar were lying, she would already be facing legal action. It was common sense to them. Why not take Diddy to court if she or any of the others has a case? The rumors persisted despite the absence of defamation lawsuits. It gave them a boost. Portraying her as someone who skated perilously near to realities no one dared test in discovery rather than a reckless loudmouth. Then the chorus sounded like gospel as it spread over social media feeds. Jaguar doesn't hold back and attacks right from the hip. She has spoken the truth and is likely to continue to do so. That line stuck. She wasn't presented as a messy gossip by it. She was hailed as an unvarnished whistleblower. The voice that some thought would risk all and burn bridges in order to expose the deepest secrets of the industry. Everything has devolved into a chaotic swamp. Reportedly, free coughs can turn into health scares. Megastar names and strained friendships were pulled face first down the drain. It's disorganized. It's unsightly. Furthermore, it's unlikely to ever be wrapped up with tidy little boughs of concrete evidence. This is the bit that gives many the chills, though. Since Diddy's empire is already collapsing in real life, the accusations no longer seem like crazy rumors. They touch down like possibilities that are far too near. And in the midst of the chaos, there was stillness and no response from those being called out. Jaguar was not hit with any lawsuits. Pressers didn't stop her. Nothing. Everyone is left with only one terrifying notion. As that void reverberates louder than any denial, someone would have pointed it out if she was lying. This quiet is more than just a void, as we have stated and will reiterate. By itself, it makes a statement. Remaining silent feels like a confession in a field where non-disclosure agreements are more prevalent than the smoke at those free coughs. It shouts that some secrets are too sinister and perilous to ever be revealed. Thus, the question looms large. Will someone ever speak up and break rank? Or will this story simply languish in the shadows, never to be owned? The harsh reality. People wouldn't be posting on Instagram to declare their infection if they were truly infected. The gut punch is that. The most sinister turn of all. This tale may remain untold for all time. The reality is concealed beneath a lot of power, humiliation, and fear. Fear.